Hello, ladies. Hello, members of the Single Boss. I am your host, Joy, and I am your love and dating strategist. I hope all of you have had an amazing week. And I hope everybody's out actively dating. I don't think you expect Mr. Right to come knocking on your door. And yeah, he doesn't know where you live, so he won't know where to find you, right? So you got to get out there so he can see you. Just like Tamisha said on a post, she's like, yeah, she's going out so her soulmate can find her. So I would suggest that everybody kind of get out and do the same thing and let yourself be seen, right? I remember, I remember years back when I just met Bobby. Really, the truth is, I was in the house all the time, literally all the time. And it was when I finally said, you know what? I got tired of being inside. And, I started to get out more. And, oh gosh, I think it was when I started to go out more, I think I met him within, I don't even know if it was a week after. And all because I left the house. And he'd been coming around the neighborhood for years. So he was literally steps away from my door. But because I was inside all the time, couldn't see him, right? So anyway, make sure you get out, expose yourself. He might be out there looking for you. Anyway, so this week I was focused very much on talking about the dating mistakes that people make, not just women, but obviously I'm talking to you guys, so the focus is women. And the thing is this, again, just keep in mind that not that you're doing anything wrong, but there's sometimes we don't know what to do. So I labeled them mistakes just to say those are not things that you necessarily want to be doing, especially if they're not serving you. If you're getting the results you want, you're meeting the men you want, life is good, you're happy, you're on your way to marriage, and that's your goal, go for it. But if you're not getting those results, then I would really suggest that you start looking at maybe what you're doing that you could be changing up a bit. So this week I gave you 3 dating mistakes that you might be making. And for a number of people, they're probably doing one or more of these. But if you're not doing any of them, I would love for you to list what you think you're doing that's not serving you, right? Share with us so the rest of us can know. Anyway, I did talk this week, number one, about jumping in too fast. So often, we meet people, we think we like them, we get involved with them rather quickly, only to jump out of that relationship just as quick. And the reason why that happens is sometimes you get in there and you think you know the person and you like them and you want to date them, or you start referring to yourself as their girlfriend, or you start getting very deeply involved with them, only to realize that they're not the right person for you. So I'm a firm believer, very firm believer, and for those of you who are actively in the group, I would assume that you've seen me right there, that I believe that what is yours is yours. So therefore, I don't feel a need to rush it, because my thing is I want to know who I'm getting involved with. That's always been a thing for me. I just need to know the person. So getting in and rushing, and my thing is, where are you rushing to? If he is yours, he's going to be around for the next 5, 10, 15 years or the rest of your life. So there's really no need to rush. So take the time to get to know who it is that this fellow is. And if he's going to be yours for life, what is there's a term that this guy used to use, calm confidence. So when you know that you're yours, sit back, relax, and just know that he's gonna come, right? So anyway, that's number one. So number two, I also mentioned lack of clarity. So when we don't know what we want, and a lot of us believe we know what we want, but I would say this, if we know what we want, why do we often end up with that which we don't want? Some people think that it's a matter of, oh, well, he pretended to be somebody who he wasn't, and that's why I ended up in that scenario with him. But it then again goes back to number one. When you jump in too quickly, you're only seeing those aspects of you that that person wants you to see, but you're not seeing the truth of who they really are. And I often refer to Steve Harvey's 90-day rule, and I really believe that it's a great rule to follow. I mean, only because all that 90 days does for you is it gives you perspective. It allows you to get to know someone before you jump in too deep with them. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't. But I would say, again, if you find that you're going through the same, you're running the treadmill over and over again, it's worth trying to spend the time getting to know them distant of the sex or the close connection. Because for me, anyway, I know once I have sex with you, I feel like, yeah, you're mine now. Right? And to get that deeply involved only to find out that he's not what you wanted, I know I would feel a sense of violation. So I would say, you want to take the time and be sure, but definitely know what you want. And if you're seeing signs or things in that person that you don't want, that's a great time to back away. And if you give yourself the space, then when you back away, you're not backing away so much with a broken heart, and you're not thinking that all men are this or all men are that, because there are great men out there. But I think sometimes, because we jump in so fast, those ones who are maybe not be so great are the ones who are trying so hard to impress you. I always think it's really fishy when a guy who doesn't know me is trying way too hard to impress me and he doesn't know anything about me. He needs to take time, just like we need to take time to know them. They need to take time to know us. Don't pour your heart and your soul into me. You don't know me, right? So I'm not offended if they don't, because to me, if he's doing that, then that tells me that to me, it implies neediness and desperateness. I don't want a man who's desperate. I want a man who knows what he wants and he finds that in me after knowing me for a certain period of time, right? And one of the other dating mistakes that I listed is that we have a tendency to want to find love outside of ourselves. And naturally, when you're looking out there for a relationship, you are wanting to find love, to have that person who shares life with you. Absolutely. Right? But the truth is, they always say that the love that we're really seeking is within us. And when you find yourself to be much more content, you won't settle for a lot of the other things. First of all, you won't rush. You're going to know what you want, and you're going to be able to identify it when you see it. And again, you can't see it right away. So that's the thing about jumping in too fast. You're going to miss so much of who the person is. Again, people say, well, he pretended to be this and he pretended to be that. Which one of us is not on our best behavior in the beginning? I would say all of us are, right? We were trying to make the best impression. So maybe you saw in him what you wanted to see in him. And yeah, of course, he also played the role, but you need to give it some time, watch him start to step into who he is. He can only pretend so long, and then you'll know who you're dealing with, right? And then you don't have to worry about falling prey to this kind of stuff, right? But once you're full and you know what you want, and you're content, you're not going to look for that in them. They're coming to be, an addition to your life. They're not going to, change your life drastically or anything like that. They're just coming in as an addition, but not the whole thing that is going to make your heart flutter, and they're everything to you in your life, and everything is him and listen, hey, when I met Bobby, eventually I was around him a lot. I had friends who said to me, oh, you're always with him. Yes, because my intention wasn't to hang out with you all my life, right? So no matter what, you want to be content within yourself. You find that when you're at ease within yourself, you don't have this big compulsion to want to find something that you feel is lacking in your life. It'll be nice if you find it, and that's the ultimate goal, but you'll be at such a place of contentment that you're just not just so needy to find something. You won't run with this sense of, oh, I have to have it. The calmer you are, the more he's going to be drawn to you, because he's going to see that, yeah, like we always say, ladies, no one needs a man, but we all want one, right? So the more he feels like you don't necessarily need him, it's probably he's going to actually, want to be closer to you, right? So I think that's a really, really, really important one. But what I didn't mention was the fact that, one dating mistake that I think is incorporated in things for a lot of us is listening to society. Society is preaching, women shouldn't have babies after this age. Women shouldn't do this. Women shouldn't do that. Why are you single? Society puts so much pressure on women. And if you could start to look at it as that, who cares what society says? Be whole within yourself. Society is irrelevant. Who's society? Society is comprised of people like me and you, and their words are irrelevant. Don't let them, don't take that in and let that make you feel less than, because society is going to judge you whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have children, whether you don't have children. Society is going to judge you anyway. So just be who you are and be at peace with that, and don't let them dictate your choices. As far as I'm concerned, society is more of a poison to relationships because of all they demonstrate. And if you can see, a lot of things that society is saying is creating more of a wedge between men and women. I find that if you notice, there's more single people than there is people in relationships, and that should be very telling in itself, right? So what I'm suggesting is the following here, right? Instead of making those mistakes, and again, it's not intentional, I want you to do this. So number one, I want you to start when you're going out there and you're meeting people and you're on dates and all of that, tune into your body, right? When I say tune into your body, pay attention to your intuition. what is my intuition telling me? How am I feeling? And when you're really in tune with how you're feeling, you'll be able to read the situation much better. But again, we go based on what we see him do in the moment, the nice words that comes out of his mouth. But if there's something underlying that's telling you something, I want you to pay attention. It doesn't mean you have to make any rash decisions in the moment, but pay attention. Number two, know your values. What is it that you really want in a person, and lead with that. If you know that you're meeting someone and they're not in tune with your core values, and I wouldn't say that you know that after one date. Sometimes this takes a few dates, to really get to know people. And I think what people are doing these days is they're rushing in, but they're rushing out relatively quickly. And if you don't give things time, how can you see a man's soul in one date? Right? I think that's hugely important. You don't want to just see him for who he is on the surface. You want to see who he is deep, deep down inside. So I really urge you to pay attention to that. But you're going to get to know him by spending time and seeing who he is. And like I said, that'll tell you what his values are, and you'll see, are they in line with yours, or do you just feel good about being with him? So those things are hugely important. Number three, I want you to stop worrying about ending up alone. I've heard so many ladies, be concerned with, I don't want to end up by myself. And when you walk with that in mind, or when you're out dating with that in mind, that is driving your choices. That is driving the decisions you make. You should never fear that. Whatever is going to be is going to be. So let go, release. When every time you keep on thinking that, it's playing in your head again and again and again, and it's driving your choices, and you don't want to do that, right? And I've known women who didn't want to end up alone, who didn't end up alone, but ended up with someone who they wish they didn't end up with, again, for fear of being alone. So they took what they could get, so they weren't going to be by themselves. I would say that's a no-no. That's one fear I never, ever had. And that's something that my husband and I discuss a lot now, that he's like, I don't fear being by myself. And I said, I don't. If you got to go, you got to go, and I'll be fine, right? And he says the same thing, because that doesn't scare me, right? And I really believe that you make better decisions when you're not acting from a place of fear. And that goes with any decisions we make in our lives. Right, so that's another thing that I definitely want you to keep in mind. Don't focus on ending up alone, because if you focus on ending up alone, they say, look where you want to go, and if you're focused there, that's where you're going to end up. So definitely get that out of your mind if that's something that you're tuning into. And number four, I want to say, be conscious of the experience. What is it that you want to feel when you're falling in love, when you're connected to another person? When you're conscious of that, you'll know, is this person making me feel this way? You'll know to pay attention, and that you don't even have to put words on that, but you'll know that when I'm with them, they make me feel good. I feel alive when I'm with them. And I'm not talking about just sexual chemistry, because so many people, I think, confuse that with, oh, we just, we're so in tune, and it feels like, jolts in my body. And I experienced all of that as well with my husband, but that wasn't my determining factor. But what experience do you want to have? Do you want to have someone who spends a lot of time with you, someone who's in tune with you, someone who puts you first, someone who enjoys your company? It's how they make you feel. And when you're with this person, ultimately, you should feel good, right? Focus on feeling good. If you're dating someone for an extended period of time and you're not feeling good, you find that you're questioning how you're feeling often, that is not the person you should be dating. If nothing else that I tell you today clicks with you, I want you to tune into that. Be conscious of the experience that you want to have. And the experience you want to have is feeling good. And feeling good for, is different for different people, because what I might like to do may be different than what you like to do. I know with my husband, for me, I remember the first night I stayed at his place and we were there lying down late at night, and I remember he put his foot over me, and I remember thinking, it just felt right. I felt connected, because I'd been dating for years and I'd never felt that kind of connection with anyone. But of course, that was something I tuned into, but it wasn't my ultimate decision. And as we kept on going on, things just kept on clicking into place. And he was giving me the experience I wanted, because I just felt good. It's like he became pre-programmed for me. He kept on doing the right things, the things that spoke to my soul. And honestly, before him, I didn't believe in soulmates, but with him, I say, he was a person who spoke to my soul, right? And literally, I would feel my heart flutter when I was with him. And again, if this didn't happen to me, I would think, oh, people talk a whole bunch of nonsense. But for me, that was very real. But I sensed it from early on. Our first kiss, it was, I remember him saying, no, it wasn't what he said, it was the voice that I heard about, he's the one. And I'm thinking, I didn't really pay attention to where the voice came from, but I had signs all along the way and I ignored them, but I still stayed around him because of the experience he gave me. He made me feel good. I felt just very connected when I was with him. So I just want you to really tune in to some of the mistakes that you could be making that are sabotaging your love life, and slow down a little bit and enjoy the journey. I know we hear that all the time, but it is truly enjoying the journey so you can pay attention and you can zone in on the things that you might be missing, right? Because ultimately, isn't the whole purpose of going out and dating finding the one to share your life with? Then there needs to be no rush in that. You need to pay attention to the small details that are going to ultimately make the difference for you. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you ladies, and feel free to connect with me. I'm here, I'm available. I would love to help you on your journey towards love. My goal is to support you to find Mr. Ray, and you're definitely welcome to connect with me. So I will put my link in the comment. Book a call with me. Let's see if I can just help you to clear some things up and see where you are and maybe get you to head in a direction where you want to go. So anyway, have yourself a lovely evening or afternoon, and I'll see you again soon. All right. So bye for now, and I'll see you guys around the group. All right. Take care of yourself.